Welcome back to the League of Legends World Championship, as I am joined here by LMQ Zhao Zhao and assisted by Kate for the translation. Zhao Zhao, my first question, talk to me about your first day in the group of death here at the World Championships yesterday.
小微笑，我的第一个问题是，请你讲讲你对于昨天比赛日第一天的表现，你是怎么来看的？
因为我们这个组其实几个队伍都非常强，然后昨天的话我们要打 OMG 还有 Fnatic， 可能说他们外人眼中觉得我们可能说比较弱，然后我们私底下也针对他们就是制定了很多战术，平时也就非常就在按蓝色方跟紫色方去练，然后昨天取得了2场胜利。
Okay, so there are a lot of very strong teams in our group, especially we are playing against OMQ and Fnatic yesterday. So a lot of people think we're not as strong as them, but we actually did make a lot of strategies specifically to deal with their own strategies, especially to play on both blue team and red team.
Well, indeed, some people were maybe underestimating you guys and having question marks how you would do in the mid lane. How does that affect you going into those games?
小微笑，就是当你作为一名中单选手去和其他中单选手对抗的时候，很多人在想你是这些对抗是如何对你造成的影响的。
因为首先这个组其实其他3个中单都非常强，然后我们一开始就是制定的一套以前期打得比较凶狠，然后去控制小龙，然后进行一些抱团。所以说，我觉得一般我的话，只要打出我自己要做的东西，因为整个队伍大家都发挥得很好，然后我相信我们能赢。
So we are doing pretty aggressive and in the early game and try to control the dragon area. So I think out for our teammates play pretty well. So I want to just play well on myself.
All right. Talk to me through how this group will go from here, because Fnatic, for instance, is really well in their second game here.
因为今天你看到 Fnatic 在第2次比赛中表现得非常好，你对本个小组的形势发展怎么看？
因为我们组外界人称之为死亡小组，然后因为可以说我们这4个队其实差距其实并不大，大家2个队之间都有可能互相赢，然后可能说今天 Fnatic 这一场打得特别漂亮，然后赢了韩国队，因为韩国队之前一直被认为非常强。其实我对这一场比赛看的也是非常的精彩，恭喜 Fnatic 赢得了这场比赛胜利。
So people know that like they all call our group as a death group because all the teams in our group actually there's not a big difference between the skill levels. So I saw this game for Fnatic versus current team. So actually I think Fnatic did pretty well, and there's a lot of changes in the future. Congratulations to Fnatic.
All right, very nice. Final question. You have a huge game versus Samsung Blue coming up at the last game of the day. Talk me through that matchup for you.
就是最后一个问题是你们今天晚点的时候会打3星蓝，你这次怎么看？
因为3星蓝其实在以前被我看来在外界人认为中非常强，然后今天看了上场比赛，然后因为 Fnatic 也可以说打得非常漂亮，赢了3星蓝。其实我们现在可以觉得就是韩国队没有传说中的那么强，我觉得我们如果打得好一点。就是大家都尽量犯失误，然后在选人赛的时候做一点功夫的话，我们还是有机会赢得下一场比赛的胜利。
So people always think like Samsung Blue is one of the most strongest team in the world, but as we saw the last game that Fnatic overplayed Samsung Blue, so we will for ourselves we will do a lot better and try to perform well, and especially on some strategies.
All right, very interesting. Thank you very much, and good luck in that matchup. And now let's hand it over to the guys at the desk to set up our next match.
Thank you very much, Sharks, and best of luck to LMQ later in the day. For now, I'd like to welcome Alberto Crumser and Hufo from Dignitas, as well as David Freak-Turley from the North American LCS, to the desk for the next 3 matches. Welcome, guys. This match will feature LPL's OMG taking on Fnatic from the European LCS, and there's kind of a contrast here. OMG played surprisingly bad yesterday, and Fnatic played surprisingly well today. Let's start with OMG. They're 0-2. They simply can't afford to drop another game if they are looking to make it out of the groups, it's a little risky, it's a little scary. Freak, you're turning your nose up.
Yeah, I mean, you always can make the comeback the second half of the groups. It's always mathematically possible that you can fail the first 2 days and come back the next 2. But OMG are just playing worse than I expected. Cool is normally this big, hard carry for the team. They're mid laner here, and yet we saw him get kind of completely dominated so far in the first day, and that's very uncharacteristic. We know he's got a wealth of international experience. We know he showed up last year at Worlds and did phenomenally. The dude beat up Faker last year, and suddenly he's really weak, and I'm just so surprised.
Doublelift, you felt quite strongly about Dada in particular from the squad. As a support player, what does he need to do to shape up?
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Dada, really, other than there's some supports I think that are very inconsistent, right? Some of them will get caught all the time, but then they'll make the game-winning play. I think a good example of that is Moore. Sometimes he does die for free, but a lot of the times he makes the play that wins them the game. Dada seems to just die randomly. His vision control is actually pretty decent. He has a good number of wards placed compared to the other supports in the group, but overall, Dada's really just, I don't know, he seems to just die for free, but he doesn't make those big clutch plays when he needs to.
Now, Crumbs, we haven't heard from you all day long. Talk to me about the Fnatic game that I know you were watching backstage. What caught out, what stood out in your mind of how they took down Samsung Blue, and what will they be taking into this match?
I think what impressed me the most was obviously Expeke. He really, like, when you take the Ahri into Zed, it's a little bit of a favorable matchup for Ahri, but you need to be really confident in this one. You can't just say, oh, I saw someone pull this off. You have to have rehearsed this matchup, and he beat up the guy that's known for making Zed's comeback. I was really impressed with that. And then on the other side of the coin, Deft was just getting hit by everything. Charm after charm after charm, just like in a straight line, not even like any sort of attempt at juking, and then he got destroyed by Reckless and CS. So those two things really showed up, and Fnatic just completely outplayed him.
I just want to quickly expand on the CS mark, because both Expeke and Reckless are averaging ridiculous CS per minute numbers. Across both of the previous games, 8.88 CS for Peke. More impressive is Reckless at 9.97. Game 1, fair enough, he wasn't with his team, he was split pushing, but this previous game, he had 10 CS per minute, slightly over in that game, and he was with his team taking down Samsung Blue. Crepo, what sort of achievement is that for Reckless coming into this game?
Well, usually the CS numbers are pretty high on Reckless regardless, but what impressed me the most this time was that he was getting that CS while consistently playing with his team and playing the map correctly. Fnatic was not the Fnatic of yesterday. They were rotating better than their opponents. They were team fighting well. They were like making picks where they had to. They conceded objectives where they had to, and that was the most important part. They only went in when they knew they had the advantage, and I just think they played a lot smarter and just a lot better as a team. So with that momentum, they're going to go in really like just hot in this game.
Crumb, save that thought for the prediction game. We do need to roll this one on, so I'm going to put everybody on the spot, and ask who's going to win this matchup. OMG or Fnatic? Freak, you're first on my hit list.
I say Fnatic. I don't think they will ever look quite as good as they did last game. That was a just cacophony. It's not the right word. Everyone just played so phenomenal the last time. I don't know if we're going to see that quite again, but I would love to see that Fnatic the rest of the tournament. Anyway, I think they're going to win here, though.
We will see if they can pull out that same level. Doublelift, who's going to win and why?
I'm also with Fnatic. Reckless is just incredible. Expeke seems to be back, that clutch player that Fnatic needs to like hold them together mid lane. But really, Reckless and Yellowstar, those guys are the stars, and I think San and Dada don't have a chance.
Crumbs?
I'm going to have to go with Fnatic, and I'm really glad that we saw the interview with Reckless, and basically when they figured out their draft, they got kind of the jitters of having a bad team comp and were able to play to what they really want to be doing. So I think they'll get their team comps down and win off that. 3 for 3, European pride is flying high. Crepo, is it going to be 4?
Yeah, but I have forsaken Europe in the past, and I will never do again so I'm going with Fnatic. The matchup I'm looking forward to is actually Soas against Gogoing top. I think that's the only one that's up in the air right now. With Expeke on fire, he should be holding his own at least against Cool, and then the bottom lane should also be a mismatch. Maybe the jungler matchups can like sway the tide for OMG, but Fnatic looks confident for this one.
Yeah, I do want to say that in the previous game, Prolly had doomed High to fail by praising him. He's not given praise or disdain to either of these mid laners.
We had to remove him from the death.
We had to. Guys, the majority of fans are agreeing with our analysts, and 70% of you are voting with Fnatic. We'll see if they make it 2-0 on the day. The game is about to get underway, so let's send it over to the brand new triple cast to take us into the Rift. And as we go, Fnatic have thrown themselves into a very intensive boot camp to prepare for the international stage and say they're ready to face the best from around the world.
The bootcamp for us started a long time ago, like right after Gamescom. We went to America first, to PAX, and I think at first we were really rusty, but it was good that we had that week in NA to warm up, because when we arrived at Korea, I felt like we were a lot better.
Going into Korea, we had a different mindset. We really wanted to improve because we knew that we had the possibility to be even better at the game.
The bootcamp was really good. I think going to Korea was the step that needed to be done to get to the next level. I think if, for example, we stayed in Europe or stayed in NA or any other region than Korea, we would have had a worse chance than we do now.
We learned a lot about vision control and the OP picks that not many people in Europe picking. So I think like from the EU meta we shifted a bit to the Korean meta.
I felt like the bootcamp was really beneficial for us. I think it helped every single team, not only us, but every single team.
We were really happy to practice against the best teams in Korea, and we learned a lot. So in the end, it was really good for us.
Absolutely learned a lot, and they learned how to beat Samsung Blue, it seems. Let's see if they can do it against OMG. So, hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I am Lee D-Man Smith, and of course I am joined by Martin DeFicio Lunga and Rivington Bisland III for the next 3 games.
How's it going? I'm feeling pretty good. They had some crazy 3 games in the beginning, so I think it might even just get crazier.
Yeah, they have been absolutely fantastic games. Let's move straight into the starting lineups for this matchup. Starting out on the blue side, for China's LPL, it is OMG. Starting out in the top lane is Going. In the jungle is Loveling. Mid lane is Cool. AD carry is San. And support, of course, is Data777.
And on the other side of the map, the red side, is Fnatic. That's Soaz in the top lane, Cyanide in the jungle, Peke in mid, Reckless at AD carry, and Yellowstar at support.
And coming into this game, you've got to think, obviously, after Fnatic, they took that victory earlier on. Their morale, it was down here yesterday. It's up here right now. It is sky high out of the arena. You know, just beating Samsung Blue immediately. Everybody was saying, you know, it's a possibility. And we were backstage, obviously, talking about it. It seems to be all about the mid-game, and that really worked for them throughout the entire tournament. Problem is, OMG are kind of good at that area as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, normally we would see OMG be really good in these mid-game team fights, but their performance yesterday was very strange. It didn't look like OMG at all, and if we talk about Fnatic being like up here in terms of morale, OMG's down here. They're under the caster disc at the moment. After losing 2 games, I mean, the entire Chinese community is looking at OMG as well, and they're failing to perform.
And this is the big deal. I mean, this is the Chinese team, because the whole China region believes this, because it is a pure Chinese team. They look at, obviously, Edward Gaming, they pulled together. They were a little bit upset about World Elite, the mix that went on back at the start of the season. They look towards, obviously, Star Hong Road Club. There's a mix of Koreans in there. So this is the team they see as representing China. There is a massive amount of pressure on this team.
And they just haven't been able to perform. And now, looking pick and bans here. Rumble yesterday destroyed OMG in 2 games. Fnatic didn't play Rumble yet, and yet OMG actually banned it because they don't want to take the chance anymore. Rumble is so good in these mid-game team fights, and that's where OMG has been losing their games.
The thing is, like, while Soaz, we've say, can kind of play everything, I don't remember the last time he played Rumble. Definitely wasn't during the entire summer, that's for sure. But who knows, maybe it's in his bag of tricks. Alistair also banned out, continuing to be one of the most banned champions throughout. Gragas banned out. That comes out of left field.
Interesting. Peke possibly using that to create what we thought was going to be a composition that wouldn't work out for him earlier with the picks, but maybe able to create a little bit of that.
And this Gragas ban is very strange. It could again be a ban towards the top lane. I'm not sure why exactly they banned Gragas. Maybe they know something about Fnatic we don't know. But on the other side for Fnatic here, Rise banned against Going and Cool. It's a flex pick for OMG that makes a lot of sense and will probably be banned pretty much every game. And Lee Sin banned against Loveling. Remember, Cyanide, he's not a big Lee Sin player.
We talked about the mentality of these teams coming into this one. Fnatic using that last win as rocket fuel pretty much coming into this game. We know momentum is huge for them. And they're looking at the Zillion pick, which means OMG is going to be able to get the fights they want and be really reckless with those fights as well.
And OMG should be pretty happy here by getting the Zillion pick, because if you look on the other side of Fnatic, yes, okay, you take away the Kha'Zix jungle, But that's one of the worst junglers for Loveling in the jungle of OMG here. So it's not really a loss for him. He can go Jarvan instead. Now he can have the Zillion, so he can go really aggressive in the fights if he wants to. We have seen him play Evelynn in the past in LPL as well. Could be a pick for him. Not a champion we see very often. It's kind of fallen out of favor after she got a lot of nerfs.
And this is an interesting pick. The Aurelia getting locked in for the top lane of Going. It is one of his main champions. Played it 10 times during the summer. Of course, we've seen Soaz playing it this matches earlier on today. Right. We also heard he wanted to play it yesterday against Cloud9, but they didn't actually go. They went with the Lulu.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that gets countered. More importantly, what is going on for Cool? What is he going to play? Talking about on the analysis desk, the amount of pressure on this man in the mid lane. It is going to be instead a jungle pick, so he's holding his cards close to his chest right now.
We've only seen one Evelynn game from Loveling actually in OGN, but sorry, in LPL. Still, I'm looking at this combo from OMG, and they have a lot of mid-game pressure already with the Aurelia pick. Get your Trinity Force, you have your big power spike. Zillion has a lot of damage in the mid-game. It will fall off going into late game, but he does bring a lot of damage and a lot of utility. And now you have the Evelynn as the stealth threat here, so what you can do is you bomb her, you speed her up as well, and she can flank around the enemy team really easily, land her ulti, bomb explodes, and you have a lot of instant burst damage onto Fnatic if they're not warding with pink wards on their flanks.
The big thing for me right now is the mid lane look. Obviously, we saw Peke going pretty big earlier against Dada. Zed is on the table, Yasuo is still on the table, so there's a lot of options for Cool. I wonder how it's going to get countered. It looks like it's going to be a Lulu in the top lane once again for Soaz, and Reckless happy to get Lucian.
Very strong with his AP picks towards the top. Was surprised, actually everybody with only one play in the regular season took that Aurelia last time, but we do see Going has taken that away so far. And the Lulu, we see that locked in, so Peke can round out the composition for Fnatic here because pretty interesting coming in here for OMG.
Yeah, they will have the last pick option against Cool, who's been looking very, very shaky. We don't know if it's going to be Zillion mid lane just yet for Dada 7 down this bottom lane. Otherwise, a champion like Braum would be open for him. He's played it a lot in the LPL. Otherwise, if he locks in Nami here, he didn't look very good on Nami yesterday. Like, his tidal waves were completely off. He did have a few good bubbles, but his ultis were... no offense, but they were terrible. But the idea is simply you have the Evelynn, speed her up with the Zillion, that's your flank, you land the slow, and then tidal wave is your like follow-up engage, which means if Fnatic is caught in the jungle in a choke point, you can hit multiple members, and suddenly OMG can just collapse onto them and pretty much blow them up from the start of the fight.
The final choice. What will Peke choose? Or will the Lulu be in the mid lane? Who knows? Of course, Kog'Maw and Nami were picked in, not Name, were picked in for OMG. It does give the final choice. What do we think here? Make a guess.
So we have seen Syndra against Zillion in the past, where Syndra will win early on because she outranged Zillion, but then Zillion ulti in teamfights is just the hard counter to Syndra's ulti here. Could be an option for him. The Ahri pickup is open as well. Somewhat the same deal.
Yeah.
You want to burst down one target, Zillion is there with his ulti to kind of stop it. And Zillion is a great pick against Fnatic because they love to get like these picks.
Oh,
wow. That's an old favorite of Xpeke here.
Exactly. Fnatic pulled Kassadin out in the groups last year at the Season 3 World Championships and caused commotion. I believe it was against Samsung Ozone as well, where they picked up that first victory. And consequently, Kassadin was pretty much banned out for the rest of the tournament against Peke. We'll see how it is. It's been a lot of changes since then.
It is definitely not the same Kassadin. The last change where his ulti now, you need to wait 20 seconds before it actually reset on the stacks, was a big deal because it means he's not as good as chasing anymore. You will run out of mana very, very fast and you can't wait for it to just run out and then redo your stacks on the ulti. But Fnatic's comp right here, once again, they love like these skirmish comps where they can go in, burst down one target, then quickly disengage again, and if they can see an opportunity to chase, you have Lulu to speed you up, you have Kha'Zix with the slow, you have Kassadin, probably the best champion in the game at chasing. So this is all about quickly go in, land some burst, disengage, see if there's a target low, and then you re-engage and just pick up the kills.
Well, both of these teams coming out winless yesterday. We see Cool, we talked about that emotion a little bit, where I see Fnatic is going to be riding high off of those wins. So hopefully with the Zillion pick, they can kind of turn back time here, set the clock again, and get themselves some victories.
Yeah, and in the same vein, OMG have got to be looking at a win here because 0-3 is a stark start to the group, honestly, with all the pressure on them. Of course, you guys at home, be sure to head over to Twitter and vote for the team that you think has the edge. Send us your hashtags OMG win or hashtag FNC win. And don't forget to put at LOL Esports in there. And we'll see how the Vans are picking up shortly. I'm pretty sure I know which way that's going to go, of course. We're kind of missing a few Chinese fans on this stream. I'm pretty sure it's all the English-speaking world. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The game is getting underway. Game 4 of the day. We've had 3 fantastic matches already in day 2 of Singapore, who will set themselves apart in this halfway stage in the groups.
And look at the lane matchups here. Kassadin in the mid lane should actually be able to do just fine against Zilean because you have your magic shield from the Q to absorb a lot of damage from the bombs here. And xpeke should be able to just get a lot of farm early on. He decided not to go teleport actually, so I want a bit more lane pressure here. While in bottom lane, I mean, when you have Lucian Thresh, it's very aggressive lane, but it's really, really hard to lane against something like, again, an army pick on the other side. And I wouldn't actually be surprised to see Fnatic if they want to send Sana down to try and help the bottom lane, because you have the lantern option to set up an early kill.
And we do see that Doran shield for a little bit of aggro from that bottom lane. Looks like they will get a 2v2 matchup down there. Wards are going out. And we've seen that be a problem for a lot of teams towards the late game, not warding as a team. The picks start to happen. It's how Fnatic came out big with their pick comp earlier. They just kept grabbing the front line as they tried to go out for some warding.
Look at this start here. They're going to spot San when he moves in. Staying ready for Fnatic's side. And it's going to be delayed.
So, we're going to see OMG now. A little breather for themselves. We see San raising his hand. May just be a peripheral issue for that. But we did talk a little bit about OMG's emotions, kind of having the jitters coming in. We saw Champion Select take a little bit longer as some of them needed to step aside last time. But they seem a bit more composed here. Hopefully they'll be able to start the game that way as well.
Yeah, people really need to realize how much pressure there's on OMG.
A ridiculous amount.
Thinking back to All-Star, when they lost the final to SKT1K, when they came back to China, we heard a lot of stories about how the community was very harsh on them. Pomelo, who was the jungler at that point, he was like, okay, I pretty much have to stop playing here because everyone is telling me to step off the team. And the community can be very harsh on certain players, and especially when you're representing your entire region and you kind of are China's team here at Worlds.
Well, you can see it is San that's pulled the pause, hasn't got his headset on just yet, so clearly an issue of some kind. We're just waiting to see how that will get sorted out. But how do we take these 2 team compositions overall? You talked about, obviously, Fnatic. They're looking at getting in, getting out. This is quite a different comp. I mean, technically still a pick comp that Fnatic always run.
Sure, I mean, as soon as you have a Kassadin, you kind of always fall into
always
like the pick comp
one
style. And also we see Reckless on Lucian here, being very aggressive in the way he plays. You always want to look for these one-on-ones or 2v2 fights, which is what you can do on Lucian. But OMG is really running what I would call an OMG-style comp. A lot of focus on 5 versus 5 team fighting here, and just hard engage on the enemy and just start rolling over them. Because again, we keep talking about this Evelyn pick. Even though that's new from Loveling, the fact you can flank around if Fnatic doesn't have pink walls on the sides to get you engaged, follow up with Nami, and then you have so much area damage from both Zilean and Aurelia coming in with her ulti just to take down targets.
Definitely going to be interesting to see how Loveling utilizes that. San getting his team audio turned up a bit. It was too low, so he didn't want to go into battle without being able to communicate with his team right away. We'll get that fixed up. Still looking at the rest of the team, scaling for OMG to come in here. We said it was going to be about a late game, and it seems like they've put together a composition, as Fnatic has, to do just that and be pretty safe in that mid game.
And there's a pretty good power spike for OMG in the mid game here. You have Aurelia getting Trinity Force, your AD carries building Trinity Force as well. And of course, Zilean is just super, super strong in early mid game fights with his damage, and then late game he becomes more about the ulti and the utility he brings. So you have some very good Trinity Force power spikes from OMG's side. And that's what really cost them games yesterday. The fact they were weaker in the mid games and still took fights, because they are a team who will contest every single dragon, every single baron, every single buff if they can. And it cost them yesterday against the Rumble picks. They didn't know how to handle it, and they always lost the mid game fights.
We have to see also if Going can get himself really in a place where he can carry the team, can do some damage. We saw him kind of get hit up on Kale, 0-7-7 versus Samsung Blue, and Maokai in his previous game versus LMQ, 0-3-4. So he hasn't really been able to contribute to the team too much. A little bit of focus towards him.
And the problem is he was up against a bit of a lane bully. He's not the same power that Lulu used to be back before the changes, of course, to the picks, but very much going to be under pressure early on in terms of farm. You can see he's already picked up the crystalline flask to start with, so expecting that harass early on.
Yeah.
For sure, and Lulu is one of the champions who can fall behind and still be very useful, but she wants to be in the one-on-one. She wants to be able to bully her lane in the start.
All right, well, let's see what bullying can start here. We are back onto the Rift. Not much time has passed, and teams haven't seen each other too much. At least San doesn't know that Yellowstar and Reckless are down here in the brush waiting to get an attack on. No skills chosen yet for San. Doesn't look like it would help him that much either. It's really about Yellowstar, and if he has that, usually taking Flay in the beginning for Threshes, but a play with a hook could definitely be made to blow that flash early on San. Very good patience. San does not step too far forward, and it looks like we are going to get just an easy laning phase to start off here. And that level 2 is going to be where the pressure is really given.
Very nice start by Reckless here. You hit the minions and you get a hit onto San as well, just to get some early pressure here, but OMG instantly trying to respond. It's all about the race for level 2 down this bottom lane, and right now it's definitely in favor of Fnatic.
Yeah, you expect them to be a little bit aggressive. They have got a Lucian Thresh after all. It is a very strong combo, so expecting to put the pressure on certainly in the early levels, so no surprises. We see Reckless pushing in. Had a fantastic performance earlier today, of course, beating out Deft, which is going to give him ginormous amounts of confidence as the AD carry.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is a combo, Yellowstar and Reckless together on Lucian and Thresh. I mean, if you land the hook, you can be super aggressive. But once you miss it, you're going to take a lot of poke in return from OMG's bottom lane here. But the level 2, heavily in favor of Fnatic, because they were starting in the bush. They got the first Q from Reckless onto the minions and onto San, just giving a small advantage in the start.
Lots of hook being thrown out by the Threshes of all the games today. Not so many hitting, but in the late game, they have been making extreme plays. But you miss every hook you don't throw, so you got to take these chances. Still creating pressure. The level 2 comes in for Fnatic to start out here, and they keep it pushed pretty well against Dada and Sam.
You can really see how Fnatic value this good start for Reckless on this Lucian, because Yellowstar, once again, he's starting with the Ignite. He has the Doran Shield as well. Like, this is full lane dominance focus. No GP10 item for him on Thresh. So they want to make sure they can win this bottom lane 2v2 and make sure Reckless gets a good start.
Very early backs here for Fnatic. Go straight out, get themselves a couple of items out there. You can see second Doran's Blade being picked up, so they want to be overly aggressive, I feel, in this bottom lane. We did see Dada going back as well. He realized he needs to go get a chunk of wards just like Yellowstar has. So we'll see how that early back pays off. It does, of course, mean that San will get himself a bunch of free farm, keep himself even with Reckless in farm.
It's going to be a pink ward war here. Who sets theirs down first to get it taken out? Looks like they're going to keep it safe, but Yellowstar could easily lose that on the side of Fnatic. You're going to read this one out, and they knew it.
Pink ward.
Very good homework done by both sides. Should have enough for this, and it's going to be the roam down actually from Cyanide. Double buff Ignite goes down. Dada's getting their Dada 777 getting hit up. He's going to get first blooded just off of nothing.
But that was such a nice setup by Fnatic here. You saw Cyanide move down with Yellowstar, and they knew Dada 7 would come toward. Let's see what happens in mid lane here, then we can talk about it.
Oh, they're going to keep on pushing around. Lovelin, unsure, unseen actually. He will spot, and that's another pink ward being used by Cyanide. Good early vision from Fnatic here, setting up that kill.
And a very good ward as well in the jungle here. Notice how the wards are on the Golem and at the Wraith camp. When you're against Evelynn, it's all about deep wards on the camps, so you can spot her when she starts to clear it. She gets out of her stealth, and then you know where she is on the map. But the play before here, it was so smart because Yellowstar was waiting. He knew Dada was going to come back to lane with a pink ward, and he was going to place it, so he just waited and waited, walked in, found him, and Cyanide was already ready to join in and pick up the first spot.
Dada holding his flash so he doesn't get taken down by a hook in lane. Still trying to keep it safe there. Cyanide not done yet. Trying to go from lane to lane, possibly getting one on this, but he does not have red, and he cannot connect off of that to keep cool on the slow. Doing quite well for themselves in the mid lane. Looks like Peke is going to get it back here. Cyanide will soak up some farm for him as Loveling is making sure that Cool is as safe as can be.
We'll see how this trade works out. Of course, Peke will fall behind in terms of CS. He is against the Zillion, a very strong laner early on. And of course, Cassidy needs to get going. Soaz very high in lane here. This is a desperate trouble for him. He will be able to shield and speed himself up. Goin's actually pretty low on this one. Baited into it by Soaz there. Now Loveling's going to catch on. Has to get the flash across. Can speed himself up. And Loveling's going to give chase. Should be able to get on with the hate spikes. One more hit. The shield goes on. The hate spikes are still going. He's got no support. Peke couldn't join him. He'd already gone back to base. And it's the first kill for OMG.
And this is one of the very, very strong points about Aurelia up in this top lane is even against a ranged champion, you're gonna take a lot of poke, but it simply means you can set up your stun easily when the jungle gank arrives, and going, he will always max his E first, which means longer duration on the stun, more instant burst as well. Easy pick up here by OMG, and no wards to actually try and spot out where Loving was on the top side of the map.
See, I did see Soaz throw a ward down there for a second. Peke usually running that teleport. Maybe was looking to see if he had it, but switches to Ignite before the game actually went into play. Might have been trying to get something out of that. Could have been help from Cyanide, but nonetheless, good pressure still from Cyanide in the bottom. Yellowstar's taking a lot, but that baits OMG in just enough, but not enough to get them for the full grab on that fight. Level 6 Sand able to draw some big damage here.
Yeah, we just saw the damage. Oh, Yellowstar flashing away here. Cyanide still down this bottom lane, but he was already recalling.
But that was the flash from San, and that is a flash that's now down that surely Cyanide's got to be looking at and thinking, I fancy that one. Of course, Peke has hit level 6 now, so his Rift Walk's available. That is dangerous, aggressive play from San.
It is. It definitely opens up for Fnatic to set up a roam here. Teleport was used in top lane by Source, so he won't be joining, but Xpeke can roam down towards this bottom lane here, land a hook from Yellowstar, and easy pick up then onto San here. But aggressive play. I mean, they, as a bottom lane from OMG, has been underperforming a lot. Now definitely trying to make some big plays. Didn't actually work.
We see Peke, or rather Soaz is back here, putting some rings on the finger. Knows he'll probably find a little more aggression from Lovelink, so he's going to need that HP in the ganks. 1-to-1 across the board here at 8 minutes. Good forcing into the jungle here from Fnatic. All the pink wards that OMG has laid down, super defensive. Fnatics are sitting in the river. They've been there for a while. Another one right inside the Wraith, giving them vision of Lovelink. 6 on Peke, and the safety of the Lantern. We could expect to be seeing them do that the entire game.
Data coming around, get a little bit of poke on towards Peke there, but he wasn't too flustered by that one again. As you mentioned, that ward earlier on in the race spots that out early on. Blue buff is going to be taken by Peke here, and that's going to be gifted across. Looking at Soaz, of course, has gone towards that triple ring build that he's pretty much commonly goes towards. Good pressure from Go-Going. Has he got enough here? The shield turns around. Glitterlance does not get fired towards Go-Going. Happy to just continue farming. Pretty low on mana though, Soaz, so Go-Going starting to give him some serious pressure in this top lane.
Yeah, again, once you hit level 6 on Aurelia, you get a huge power spike with your ult, and you can suddenly start trying to all-in people here. But Soaz, whenever he's one-on-one on Lulu, you just talked about it, triple Dawn Ring pretty much every single time. He wants the lane dominance. Let's see what happens down the bottom lane. No flash on Sand.
Oh, the bubble onto Cyanide. This could be big. He is going to go down. The team says, sorry, buddy, we cannot help you with that one. Couldn't grab the Lantern.
And every single member from OMG was standing on the Lantern here. He can still click it, but it just becomes even harder. Let's see what happens in mid lane.
Peke turns it back around on Cool here, tries to put the pressure on him, turns around with a couple of buns. Oh, Peke's going down, tries to turn it back around. The Ignite doesn't matter because Cool has his ulti, and he will be safe.
So 2 very aggressive plays by Fnatic, one in the bottom lane, one in the mid lane, and both completely backfired. Counter gang from Lovelink and a nice bubble by Data7. Suddenly Cyanide is dead. And then in the mid lane, Xpeke has one job: farm, farm, and farm. You don't have to try and all in a zillion.
Good back and forth as OMG gets a bit of what they want here. The mid game can start to sway in their favor. The Dragon nicely taken. See the Catalyst being taken out by Peke, so he's going to be a little bit safer in lane. We're looking at this bottom lane right now. San in not a good spot. He blew that flash earlier. If Yellowstar can hit, slows for the hook. He is going to throw it a little late here, and the dodge just comes out quite easily.
That was an easy dodge, and San should not have got away with his life there. That is a bit of a problem for Fnatic here. Starting to fall behind early, and looking towards the team comp here. Peke is going to take a long time to get going on that Kassadin. This is not playing well for them. Ultimate was already used by Cool earlier on, but it's not quite off cooldown. Cyanide tries to catch on towards him. Lovelink goes back around. Cyanide in trouble once again. The bomb is huge! Not quite enough with the red buff though, but Peke now is in trouble. Doesn't quite get gold buff. The bomb will go off, and he will go down once again. OMG starting to put the pressure on early.
Too much aggression in this mid lane from Fnatic here. Sana jumping in as well. They saw Lovelink at the Wraith camp when they placed the ward, and yet they went for their gang in mid lane here. Zilean is so strong in this early to mid game. Don't try and fight him.
They're making great use of the buffs from Loveling as they're still just revolving around him. It's like they have glue on their hands. If it's not the slow or the speed up from Cool to keep him in range, Loveling is right there to keep kicking you in the backside. Pressure to the mid lane. Yellow Star's getting his roam on now, but this leaves the AD carries to farm it up.
And while we talked about OMG and their morale on the team, how down they would be going into this game here, getting a good start, getting a few kills, you completely forget about the games yesterday and you fully focus on this now and you believe in yourself. They want to kill Source in this top lane.
It's a three-man dive.
Yes,
you
no
can see Cool is heading up here as well. Soaz in desperate trouble. Cyanide has just backed away. Now he's heading here. I'm not sure he's going to get close enough though. Wild growth available for Soaz. Tries to run away. In comes Cool. They tried to gift it across. Is the bomb enough? I'm not too sure. Cool will go down to the ultimate. There's the bomb going down. Cyanide can't get close to this one. And OMG strike again.
They're simply just pressuring Fnatic in every single lane now because they're getting the kills in mid lane, they're getting the kills in bottom lane. It simply opens up the map. Going once again, get the stun onto Source, and you can just go for the dive.
Definitely not looking happy in that player cam as well. Soaz looks like he was getting a call from Cyanide that he maybe should have left that situation. Great play from going in the top lane to create these opportunities for the team, and roam from OMG to keep the fights going. We all know when there's an objective or a turret to be had or a fight, OMG will continue to go for it.
And Loveling in this game has managed to be pretty much everywhere he needed to be. Every single time Sana tried to gank, Loveling was there instantly for the counter gank, turn it around together with his team, and get the kills onto Fnatic. It's not even the Evelyn pick itself, because Fnatic has had a lot of deep wards in the jungle to spot him every single time. It's just Loveling being at the right place at the right time, knowing where Sana wants to gank.
While all that action was happening in the top lane. Oh, Soaz again caught out, stunned up. A lot of damage going down. Going fancies this one. Wild growth going down. Cyanide still not even close. Soaz trying to turn his trade around, but doing next to no damage to going in that top lane. What I was about to say is the fact that Reckless, he had to use his flash earlier on. He doesn't have it available right now, but they're still going to go for this one.
Flash play, the box is down. Dada stays in. Will they be able to take him out? But this leaves Sand to just dish out damage from the back line. That is going to be going coming in. Soaz is going to try to do what he can as well. Already Dada falls. And this is Lovely coming down. He's going to start putting in some damage. They give it over to Cool, who's only getting bigger, and Peke's there to kind of watch the fight happen.
That was definitely a mistake in the communication from Fnatic here, because Reckless, he wanted to take the Lantern and get out of the fight. And Source didn't cancel his teleport. He was just left for dead. He teleported in to 4 people here. It's not over yet.
Well, OMG still pushing on. They fancy the turret. They're going to let the wave crush that one out. They can turn back on there. And that was a quick claps from OMG. Good reactions from Fnatic, but like you said, that teleport was not in the right place. Lovely hooked in, but nobody's there to follow through. Blue buff looking to be stolen away. Cyanide's going to try and smite it. Doesn't quite hook it. Went way too early on the smite there. And Lovelin picks that one up.
A lot of wards got cleared out by OMG. There used to be pink wards on the bottom of the map for Fnatic, but now OMG able to run freely. They have it covered. 1 minute coming up on a Dragon. Let's see this one more time in these teleports. Great start for Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is great. You can win the 2v2 fight here. They get the kill. Now, Fnatic just wants to disengage as soon as they kill Dada. Yellowstar places the Lantern and walks back to his own tower. Reckless just want to click the Lantern and get out of the fight. That's where the miscommunication from Fnatic comes in. Because Soa's like, okay, I'm going to join. Now he might die in top lane again.
Oh, Soaz getting absolutely picked on right now. He's not going to live. It's Cool with another bomb. And Cool, 4-0-1 right now on Zilean. Is going to be a massive problem.
And this is the player we're used to seeing in the LPL. Whenever he gets a lead in the mid lane, he will just roam to the lanes and pressure every single lane. Fnatic trying to push this mid lane, everyone collapsing onto them.
Oh, this could be bad for Fnatic. The bubble comes out, but do they know they're walking right into Loveling? It's not close for San, though. San trying to come into the fight. Loveling getting a few hits off on Yellowstar. A very split fight to start, and none of Fnatic can help each other on this one. Yellowstar says, follow me. I will be the one for the team to die.
Sacrificial lamb there. Peke was taken very low as well, but the Dragon is spawning. It doesn't seem that OMG are going to go for it just yet. They are backing off. We'll see whether their timing is working out. That's actually going to give Fnatic a chance to get back in there.
Yeah, not sure why OMG just didn't go straight for the Dragon. I mean, Cool was pretty healthy as well. Cool just taking it down now. Fnatic might still try and rush back. It could be a bait from OMG saying, we actually want you to come down for this Dragon here. We want you to try and start a fight, and then we can just kill you because we are so far ahead. Seems to be the reason for them not actually starting the Dragon. Simply trying to bait Fnatic in.
Trying to draw Reckless down to this bottom lane. I don't think he's going to come too close. The tower will go down to the minions. Now the Dragon's going to get started off. Fnatic can't contest this one. It's a 6,000 gold differential between the teams. That's going to stretch to close to 7,000 the moment this Dragon goes down. It is a gigantic lead, 16.5 minutes in, a complete contrast to the Fnatic we saw against Samsung Blue.
A lot of calculated aggression here. Usually we see just going getting the ganks, San and Dada getting the ganks, but now coming in for Cool, he's 501. They're not going to be able to go in on that because OMG is just wiping the vision of Fnatic. They don't even know what's going on in the jungle.
No, this early game has been individual misplays from Fnatic, Xpeke dying in the mid lane to Cool, and then also every single time Loveling wasn't on one of his camps and he was gone from the map, Fnatic still actually went for the ganks down this bottom lane, and he was just there to counter gank him because we saw San use the ulti down his, use his flash down the bottom, down his bottom lane. So we knew Fnatic was going to focus on it, and so did Loveling. So he was just staying around the bottom side of the map, didn't show himself on one of the camps, and instantly Asana was there, turned it around, and suddenly the whole snowball just started.
The problem is Fnatic, they're going to be pushed back into their base sooner than they know right now because there's such a gigantic difference between all of the champions. Just look at the mid lane. I mean, gold differential alone has got to be enormous. You can see the Athene's already complete. 6,700 to 4,600, 2k gold difference between just your two mid laners. Rod of Ages still yet to be completed by Peke, while you can see, of course, Cool sitting on the Lucian boots, already with the home guard on them and the Athenes.
And OMG finishing up the Triforces.
Wearing Lucian his boots. Why not?
The jungle items as well, and the plethora of pink wards in their inventory means they just want more fights. We've talked about it quite a bit, and it suits their style so well. I think it's from the region, maybe.
Well, I mean, OMG is really hitting their mid-game power spikes now, and for them to just win this game, and the win condition from the start of the game for them was, okay, power up early game, get your Trinity Force, get your Athenes completed, and now you just force Fnatic to teamfight because you are so much stronger. Kassadin needs so much more time to scale up at the moment. Every single member from OMG is going to be a lot stronger than him. Maybe if we ignore Data 7, I'm not sure he can one-on-one Xpeke. We might get to see it later.
Well, we'll see how this one progresses. Rod of Ages finally picked up by Peke. That's going to take a while to get going. Yellowstar caught out of position. He's in all sorts of trouble. No escape here. The rest of his team coming around to try and save him. Flashes away. He's safe for now. The wave doesn't land. And Fnatic are scattering around their own jungle. But it does seem they've got away.
Doesn't seem like they have the vision to get back into this one. It almost looked like they could have re-engaged, but blindly. And they make the safe choice to get out of that one. OMG is controlling so well inside of Fnatic's jungle.
This is a possible problem for OMG. When they get ahead, they go a little bit aggressive, maybe, just maybe, a little bit over the top sometimes. And Fnatic may be able to squeeze their way back into it, but that is a big, big ask, and they need to really work in their favor, and somebody like maybe going to be off on his own, not involved in the fight.
And that was a completely risk-free fight from OMG because they had all the wards in the jungle of Fnatic, and they were the ones to engage onto Fnatic as well. It wasn't diving onto a tower, it was finding them in the jungle. You see all the wards on the top side here. It's basically just OMG taking control, using the mid-game power spike to choke Fnatic out of their own jungle. And if you're ever going to find them there, you're going to engage onto them.
And something, you know, Fnatic may have been caught by is they are going up against two completely different play styles today in Samsung Blue and OMG, and maybe just tunneled on one a little too much during practice because OMG seems to be getting their way with everything they want.
And the strangest part in Pele is they picked a fast, early, aggressive, good mid-game team comp against Samsung Blue. It's exactly what they needed to pick against OMG. You knew this was what was coming from them. And yet they seem to have picked hey, we can sit back and just farm a little bit. It does not work against OMG.
No, I mean, they did have the Lucian pick here for some of the mid-game power. Lulu as well is strong in this mid-game into late game. But the Kassadin pick up then, at least run a teleport so you can try and help your side lanes, or if you make a mistake in the mid lane, you have to teleport to kind of get back in the lane and just keep farming. Don't go for lane pressure against a Zillion who has his ulti as well, just to stop him from killing him.
Ooh, that's risky play. Peke went Rift walking in a little bit too early. Gets caught out, but he manages to get the wild growth out from Soaz. That keeps him alive, but now tower goes down. It's Sam that keeps on pushing. They are not giving up just yet. They finally will back away. Dragons a minute and a half away. There's not really any other objectives. There's a big wave coming in the bottom. And OMG have complete control of this jungle.
Yeah, look at the side lanes here. OMG managed to start a slow push in both side lanes, and then they group mid lane, forcing Fnatic to stay at the tower and defend, and just waited for all the waves here to push into the tower. Someone needs to go top lane as well from Fnatic to defend. For now, OMG happy just getting one tower, go back to base, use your gold, buy some wards, and be ready for this dragon spawning in 1 minute, because you have to get it. You are so far ahead at this point. Don't let Fnatic back in the game.
Well, OMG is definitely going to want to fight for it. Still looking at Reckless to complete a core item here. 21 minutes into the game as he's pieced together a few things here and there. Looking for that crit to the Infinity Edge with the early Brutalizer to help him out with damage in lane. It hasn't helped him get too many kills. He does have that 1 kill right now, and we know he can explode towards the late game, but will they have the time to get there? OMG is really turning up the team.
Cyanide spotted out there, and that's just the difference that we've been seeing a lot throughout this tournament. It's the fact that European teams, they will go in, they will ward, but they just won't protect them. They'll just have the back straight out, and again, OMG, you saw how quick Cool was to protect that ping ward. Cyanide caught out, has to leap away from the Aqua Prison. We do see Peke, he's in the top lane, he's getting his farm on. That's exactly what he needs, but he needs to start getting some kills on the board, and at the moment, there's just zero opportunity for that.
Yeah, so credit to OMG here. They have actually improved from yesterday's performance, where they would place all the wards like we see some of the Western teams do, and just leave them, and just let them die. This time around, they defend their wards. They know they have the lead, and they want to keep the control on the map here. Pushing up the lanes once again. Dragon is up if they want to just go back and take it once his wave is clear.
Good pressure on San there, took him low. Cool takes himself a tower hit as well, but that bomb is doing work on Fnatic, and OMG back away. Dragon spawns. Don't think Fnatic are going to want to get closer to this one. It's another chunk of gold and experience going OMG's way.
There are 2 good wards from Fnatic that placed before when OMG went back to base, so they might actually look to see if they can get a pick. Cool. Does have Chrono Shift if it is.
Just a few steps ahead on that one, and Fnatic doing everything in defense. In this case, not working out as a good offense either. 23 minutes on the clock, 8-2, and you can just see Fnatic's pink wards are slowly being placed further and further towards their own base, just so they can protect them. And now OMG is happy to move their wards forward. Reckless clearing out 210 to 176 in that lane, so he is keeping himself going, but they cannot fall into the position where he's off farming and the team is trying to do things alone. That gets them into trouble.
Yeah, once you start losing your auto turrets, it also becomes even harder to sit and farm in the side lanes, because there's always the risk of the enemy team simply move into your jungle and just move in right behind you and kill you here. So Fnatic at the moment just have to kind of get all the farm they can close to their own base, keep the defensive wards up, and then hope OMG will be too aggressive, opening up for Fnatic to get a pick here. It's going to be the way back in the game, but they really have to hope OMG is going to be way too aggressive.
Fnatic got to be careful in their own jungle right now, because there was a lot of pings on them from OMG. They knew their position. They are going to sweep across and try and go towards this bottom tower. Fnatic are reacting, going across that top safely, apart from Peke, who will just rip walk around the back door. Reckless in prime position to prevent OMG from pushing any further on that tower.
Cool. Feels safe to put himself here a bit on the front line. The team is ready and waiting to help him out. You can see Fearless with that blue buff in and out, cooling down his times, throwing out the bombs. You can see San ready to throw out Living Artillery. There's also double blue buff on the damage dealers here to help out. The whole team's about to converge in on, as Jet likes to call them, the death turrets.
Go and shove that mid-wave up, which has pulled Peke away. And OMG are just waiting for a moment to strike here. Fnatic, they've held strong on this tower for a while. Obviously, they caught San out last time with that ultimate, which burned his hit point down. But again, they need to do the same again. They're desperately keeping this wave away. Peke using that movement to get back in position, and OMG have kind of held status quo for a while here. Fnatic are doing a good job defending.
Yeah, OMG is not really using going at this point. He's standing with his team, just fast pushing mid lane, then he runs back to his team here. He can never really get in onto the tower here, so unless OMG wants to dive Fnatic onto the tower, they could have going just split pushing at this point. He's so strong in a one-on-one.
Again, the poke on San draws him away. He gets taken low, has to step up, and I think that may well slow the siege down. OMG not giving up yet. There is a cheeky ward just off to the left-hand side around the Wolves, which has actually been spotting Lovelin and going very well, cutting across. So right at the moment, Fnatic know they are very safe right now. That finally, Going spots the ward off the side, but there is still the one on Wolves, which gives them all the information they need, because look at the waves. Mid lane, that's going in Fnatic's favor. Top lane, that's holding strong. OMG pushing in. They're going to finally try and brute force the way off this one.
Could be big if Loveling can get in range for the ultimate. Actually backs off just before it looks like he's about to hit it. So the turret does go down. Fnatic lets that one go. They know it'll be safer to fight at their base, but they are losing quite a bit here. Only 26 minutes into the game.
Yeah, mid lane and top lane is pushing as well down towards Fnatic here. Opens up for OMG if they want to leave this bottom lane and start pushing some other lanes here. But I really still feel like they should take Going. He's a Trinity Force Irelia. He's the strongest member in a one-on-one on the map. Let him split push. He has teleport ready. You have disengage on Nami, even on Zillion, if Fnatic engage onto you, and so you can wait a few seconds for Going to join in on the fight.
OMG's definitely rocking the buddy system on this one, especially helping Going out with that chrono shift if he needs it. Fearlessly diving into these fights with San on the back line to throw out the living artillery. Not so much on this one. They want to make sure the hook goes the way they want it, and so far it does. Calling from Reckless to give him a little bit of breathing room here on the turret, but right now, when OMG wants something, they pretty much take it. So they're going to wait for this next wave all the way past River before they go again on the turret.
It's all about this top turret here, because now Fnatic actually managed to push the mid lane and the bottom lane, so OMG won't get any help from the minions in those lanes, and therefore, they realize it pretty quickly. We just have to back away. We're just going to stand here otherwise. Fnatic can keep trying to wave clear. We have to dive them if that's the option. Instead, they back away, can now set up for the next dragon as well soon.
A few bit of spikes and damage. Needlessly large rods for both Peke and Soaz here. Trying to find a spot where they can use them. They're able to clear out a few of the pink wards that have given them hell inside their jungle. Minute 15 on that dragon, so Yellow Star putting a few wards in place to get ready for that objective, which OMG will definitely be on the front doorstep of. Already the Quicksilver Sash here from San to make sure he is not locked down in these fights.
And this Lulu pick from Source is just another reason for why OMG should have Going splitting, because if he can pull Source up to the top lane in a one-on-one, you pretty much remove all the wave clear except for the Lucian at the tower, making it a lot easier for OMG to get in with all the ranged champions they have and actually get damage on the towers here, because the Little Lance from Lulu is doing a lot in terms of wave clearing. But for now, OMG decided not to keep sieging. Want to start baiting up around this Baron here. They need a lot of wards in the jungle of Fnatic so to spot them, because there's some very mobile targets here who can jump over walls and try and come around OMG to start the Baron. And it could be the way back for Fnatic if they can steal this Baron and get a few kills.
Could also be a way of getting caught out. OMG absolutely will pound.
It is definitely risky.
Very risky plays from Fnatic. They have to maybe make a very big play. Cyanide's been known to get the smite steals on if the Baron gets started, so they've got to make sure he's taken out of the equation. OMG will be looking to try something here. Going caught out, but it goes aggressive on towards Soaz. The lands are thrown out, but he just can't get on it, and he just gets destroyed by OMG as they push straight up towards the inhibitor turret.
That was such a big mistake by Source here. Fnatic had good wards in their own jungle. They could have held off the Baron and then bursted down instantly here. OMG, they're not done.
A great job by OMG to clear the games yesterday out of their head and come into these ones fresh, really putting the pedal to the metal. Everybody stepping up on the team, and we can see them fearlessly now walking into Fnatic's base. Sub 30 minutes to drop that inhibitor turret. They will be back, and everything, like I said before, is being used in defense. All the ultimates, all the summoner spells for Fnatic, so it's hard to re-engage on anything that comes to the table here.
Well, OMG take down the tower. Fnatic trying to push them out here, but it's simply the dragon that they're moving towards, holding steady just in case Fnatic do decide to try and push out heavily here. Fnatic themselves, though, maybe looking to counter, try and sweep out, clear all those pink wards out that have just been placed by OMG, so they'll get themselves a minor part of vision, but I don't feel it's going to last too long.
And they're making this game so hard for Peke as well. I don't know when the last time he got a blue buff was. It's kind of hard to be casting without blue buffs.
And it's also very hard to pick up farm in the lanes when you've lost so many towers already and you know the enemy team is walking around in your jungle here. I'm looking at the items from OMG, however. They're not buying a lot of wards. We have been watching some of the Korean teams, Alliance, Cloud9, Fnatic as well, and some of the games we've seen earlier, buying a lot of wards when they're ahead to simply push the advantage, take full control of the map itself. OMG has a pink ward, and they have one sidestone. That's your wards. That's not enough if they actually want to bait the Baron here and want to completely choke Fnatic out of their own jungle. It's going to be too easy for Fnatic. Look at their pink wards already to just safely stay around their own red buff, and if OMG starts the Baron, then Fnatic can engage onto them.
Well, Fnatic pushing down that mid lane. They're going to try and get themselves a quick turret here. OMG fast to react though, so Fnatic will back away once again. Can't quite get that turret down. Going. Blade surges onto the last minion, tries to chase on, and Cyanide leaps away to save himself. his life sped up by Cool. That is a scary, scary deal. Cool tries to catch on towards them. Instead, will bomb out the minions, wipe out that wave. Remember, this is an exposed inhibitor. I'm not sure the hooks really what Fnatic want. Instead, Loveling goes aggressive on towards Peke.
Throws down the Randuin's Omen, and Peke is forced to keep walking away on this one. The inhibitor should be theirs. They have 4 green wards after this if they are able to make it back to Baron and set those up, but it looks like they're staying for the long haul. Sand walks into that one, but he has picked up that Quicksilver Sash for the exact reason. Looks like they will continue on to Peke, but they are going to find solace under this turret.
Another hook flashed away from Fnatic, going to try and chase on towards this one. Reckless, he desperately wants to get some damage down, but there just simply is too much from OMG. They didn't have to burn anything. A single flash was used in that entire engagement by OMG.
And they're just so far ahead here. Fnatic, they knew they could only try and go in for some poke, and then they had to disengage instantly. Couldn't go for a straight up fight against OMG, so inhibitor gone. And just as we were talking about the wards earlier, OMG actually went back, picked up quite a lot of wards on all of their members here. So now they're ready to set up around this Baron here. You're gonna have super minions pushing into the mid lane. Let's see what OMG wants to do and how they can execute this Baron.
6 green wards from Going, Loveling, and Cool, 2 each. And then the pink wards being brought in from Sand and Dada, because they probably have pink wards on the map already that you're seeing here towards the top. We're going to get those laid out. We're going to turn that top side of the map into a light bright for the rest of this game. The security system, whose is going to be better for the vision? 9-2. OMG's been getting the kills they want to make the pressure on the turrets, but it's about the objectives for them. They will always contest it, as we said, and right now they're going to be forcing Fnatic into a sticky situation.
They're trying to set up a death push, but I'm not sure they want it. Going's going to find Cyanide. He has to jump away. They tried their best to protect that singular pink ward, but it is just so hard right now. They are so far behind. Over 12,000 in gold. OMG very much with all the items they require. Fnatic do have a little bit of damage starting to build here, but they have to evacuate once again. They do get a slowdown on Go, and he's sped up, trying to catch on towards Blade, surges through, gets on towards Yellowstar, draws out the ultimate. Go and gets hooked in, but again, they do pull out the Zillion ultimate this time around. Reckless tries to pummel them with the Cullen. They're going to give chase. The Go-Going's ultimate is going to run off. They can get the kills now, but the question is, can they find them?
I don't know. Sand slowed, and he does actually back off of that. He's just hitting the red buffs to get the slow on. Fnatic getting a little bit of ground there, and OMG realized that was not the fight that they wanted. Still calculated in their aggression.
Yeah, we did see though again the idea from OMG here, just speed either the Evelynn or Aurelia and just rush onto Fnatic here to start the fight. But there's still a lot of kiting potential from Fnatic, a lot of poke here that can land onto them. Sana just taking the lantern out, and this also means behind them.
Going comes around, Cyanide in trouble, tries to flash away. The leap not available, just comes off the cooldown. Going can't catch on towards him. Yellowstar flashes away, Loveling pushes in towards it. Reckless putting good damage down. Peke comes around the side, and again OMG forced to flash away the Zillion ultimate. Once again used on Loveling and not required.
And we saw here nobody from Fnatic wanted to just jump straight in here and try and get the Zillion ulti procced on Loveling here. They knew if they jump in now, it is suicide. Everyone from OMG standing together. Nice little teleport by Going behind Fnatic, who was starting to clear the wards in the jungle here. It is still fully controlled by OMG and Going.
What a game. Fnatic kind of holding at their own base here. They put up a brick wall, have stopped themselves from dying. They are losing quite a bit of summoner spells in these engagements, which may just give the advantage to OMG as they keep going headstrong for these fights. Going one after the other, making sure the wards are clear, because nobody can really deal with him right now 1v1.
And while OMG has had a few, like, I would call them aggressive engages onto Fnatic, they've never really overcommitted to any fights. This might actually be the first move off for Peke. Oh, there's a lot of people from OMG to stop him.
They could manage to land the hook on towards Cool, but he's going to follow through the bombs on towards side Peke. He has to use the Zhonya's Hourglass. That will be surely his death. He gets away. No, Sand comes around. Yellowstar hooked in. He's in trouble now. He will go down. Cyanide comes around the side. They all have to back away, and just like that, trying to pick up the one blue of the Peke required gives OMG a massive opening into the base.
And they're just boosting straight into the base of Fnatic here. Inhibitor just respawn. They can kill that one. Maybe even get a second one. OMG finally getting the picks they want into the base of Fnatic now.
Making very smart moves. It didn't take a Baron this time. It just takes roaming across the map. And like you said, getting the picks they want. The next inhibitor to fall here. And it looks like they may just stay in the base. 2 big waves coming in from mid and the bottom lane. They're going to have some eyes on Nexus turrets. If they want to go to the top side, they do have safety to go back to, and Fnatic is just getting hit on all fronts right now.
Dominant stuff from OMG in this game. That's going to be another inner turret going down, the 8th turret of the game. OMG in full control now. They just needed that one little opening to be carved for them, and Fnatic, they just handed it to them on that plate around that blue buff. They think they found Loveling, but the question is, the problem is, OMG are collapsing around the side.
You think you found Loveling, but he's been a tricky guy this entire game. Yellowstar again goes down without the rest of the team as he tries to pull them away, but they will not follow him. They will be looking for the W. Cyanide's in the eyes of Loveling now, but he doesn't have enough mana to take him down, and they are running Fnatic out of their own base to buy more time. Exactly, OMG loving the kill, and they are going to keep going for it. Soaz is only going to live a little bit longer, and the death timers actually not that high. Could give these guys a little bit of time to set up defense. They do have the minion wave that just spawned, but one is pouring down the mid lane, and they have that bottom lane as well that Reckless is trying to clear.
A lot of super minions here pushing on to the base of Fnatic. OMG, they can finish the game right here.
They're going to keep on pushing through. It is surely going to be the first victory for OMG. Fnatic give us earlier on, and now they take us, because it is going to be 1 and 2 for both OMG and Fnatic in groups. This group is wide open, and the top table is currently Samsung and Cloud9. There is the Nexus falling, and OMG answer their Chinese critics with their first victory.
And we really saw OMG here make sure they didn't go over aggressive, didn't overcommit. They tried to play it as safe as possible to make sure the lead they had going into this late game, they could just close out the game as well. It took quite a while. They could have closed this game 10 minutes earlier, but every single time they committed to one thing, they either got only a tower for it or had to back away because Fnatic managed to stop them and went back to base again. Then they thought about the Baron, went back to base again, and it took some time for them, but they got the picks they wanted to handle it.
And I'm sorry, Soaz, but Lulu in that top lane is not working. It didn't work against Cloud9, went disastrously wrong. 0-1-3, I believe, against, of course, Balls in the top lane of Rumble. 0-6-0 this time around. He was caught out a couple of times, but he died to that straight up 1v1 later on. And then it just got rolling. They picked on him. They managed to find their mark. Also, you got to look at the Kassadin. Kassadin was picked into the Zillion.
Exactly.
And that is not a wise move in my opinion.
This game right here was about two things. The mid game, the mid lane, Cool getting the kills one-on-one against Xpeke. He didn't have to go aggressive. He could just sit and farm, and then Loveling with the counter ganks on Cyanide in the early game. It simply meant it opened up for Cool to start roaming between the lanes. Him and Loveling just walked top lane, killed Source a few times with going. Suddenly, those three people were extremely fed, got the Trinity Forces, they got the first few items, and they could just take control of the game from there. The bottom lane just had to actually sit back and farm.
A definite statement made here coming out of OMG. Fnatic just had one hell of a match versus Samsung Blue, and now this happens. It seems like that match got maybe in their head, and they thought we could sit back, kind of play safe. We came out against Samsung Blue, and we can do this. But OMG, I'm very impressed that they came from an 0-2 yesterday to change their mentality. Going not affected by his 0-7-7 KL game that he just got hit up on over and over, but when given the chance, they all stepped up to the plate. And Cool in the mid lane, getting just a little bit of help from the jungle and Loveling was enough to catapult him on that Zillion. Amazing play there.
Well, Riv, you and me have been around a long time throughout many games, and we've seen so many times at World Championships that group stages, Day 2 can be very, very different from Day 1.
Absolutely.
All the nerves in Day 1 get out the way. Teams will play somewhat subpar, honestly, because they're just so scared about losing a game. Once they hit Day 2, OMG especially, they're like, we have nothing to lose right now going into this game. We need victories, and they threw everything at this game so early on. And Fnatic were just caught in the headlights. They had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, there were so many individual mistakes from Fnatic here. Again, the mid lane was the thing that started the whole snowball, and then also OMG realizing, let's pick a strong mid-game comp here. Let's try and get the lead and just snowball. Let's not risk being in the same situation as we were yesterday, where they were the ones who lost the mid-game and also ended up losing the games.
Well, as you mentioned, D-Man, the group now wide open, but we have more to figure out on this, so let's send it over to Shox for a first-hand account of OMG's win.
Thank you very much, guys, as I'm joined here by OMG's Cool, who played a fantastic Zilean. Cool, tell me how you were able to beat out Fnatic, who looked so strong earlier in the day.
今天你选择时光老人基兰表现得非常好，告诉我们你是怎样击败 Fnatic 的。
基兰的这个英雄选择在我们之前的训练赛里面经常会用到，也是我们打得比较熟练的一个体系，所以今天就拿出来用了。
So we practice a lot with Zilean in our practice in the past few days, and we are quite familiar with the combination. So that's why we use the champion this time.
Okay, now after yesterday, you seem to be a totally different player doing so well. What clicked in your mind after yesterday that allowed you to show up here so big today?
和昨天相比，今天你感觉完全判若两人。你觉得是什么重新激发了你的灵感，让你重新回到状态来的？
我认为昨天的比赛对于我来说就是有点紧张，因为是第一场比赛，然后也有一些压力在，就是毕竟是代表中国出战嘛，就是压力会影响到我。今天的话就是打得多了以后，也熟悉了比赛的环境，影响就会越来越少了。
So in yesterday, because it was my first day in the World Championship, I felt pretty nervous and under pressure. And today, after I'm getting quite familiar with the stage and quite familiar with the match, I'm kind of coming back to my status. And the impact of the World Finals to me is kind of mitigating.
I say, well, fantastic job. Thank you very much, and congratulations. And as for us, we're going to go back over to the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, guys. And Fnatic, they start the day with a surprise. They end the day with a surprise. OMG stepping up their game. They just took charge and punished Fnatic for a lot of their mistakes. It felt like as the laning phase played out, OMG grabbed the lead and punished Fnatic for misplays, errors, over-aggressive plays that they shouldn't have been going for.
I have to say there must be some sort of miscommunication going on because Reckless and Yellowstar were winning bottom lane really hard early. They actually based at level 2 so that Yellowstar could go back and get 3 wards. He placed those wards in the bottom side jungle so that they could know where Eve was. So all Soaz has to do is play safe and wait for Eve to show on those wards when she clears her wraiths, her double golems. But instead, he was pushing Aurelia up to her tower, and what ended up happening is he died, which gave Eve an avenue to just kind of come back into the game and kind of negated everything that Yellowstar was trying to do. So by dying, he not only lost his own lane, but kind of struck bottom lane a little bit too.
Yeah, I just want to quickly add something a little bit fun that we've got regarding the wards in Yellowstar. It is a little segment that we're going to throw in, which we're going to call a debate club. And we'll see if...
You've been waiting for this, haven't you?
I have. Freak, you quite like this play.
Yeah, so this is... I wish we could run it slower than this, but basically, clearing away the pink ward like that, normally Dada's supposed to be super safe doing that. So on his side of the map, his AD carries nearby. There's no way, practically, there's any vision on his Evelynn teammate. And you almost never get to aggressively kill someone else's pink ward. You rarely get to do that. It's usually incredibly greedy. Bubble into red buff Evelynn, you die. And yet here's Thresh hitting it anyway. And Dada's like, why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? Evelynn's not here. Oh god, Kha'Zix. And I feel like as soon as Yellowstar shows no fear, Dada's got to be like, this isn't like every other time. They've got a jungler, and he's got to realize that.
Part of the beauty in that play is that Yellowstar only goes for that after bottom lane is pushed up already, so they occupy sand. He has to clean that wave. That is generally a good moment for you to go into that brush and clean that pink ward, and then it literally becomes like just who has the best bluff there if you have the backup. But Evelynn could be there, but yeah, it's a mind game. But it was really well played, you know. Flay into hook into lantern. Ideally, once you see the hook come out, you almost have to flash immediately. That's like the only way you can survive that.
Besides that bait, the point that I want to look at in the game was when mid lane started getting going. And it was relatively even lane in CS-wise. Zilean was kind of giving Kassadin a free lane. They're both getting equal farm. And then Pekka decided to jump in Zilean and take the 1v1 kill. And he ended up losing for it. And ever since then, the lane just turns into a place where Zilean double bombs it and runs away. And Kassadin has to wait for the wave to hit the tower and just farm. He cannot roam because it's constantly being double bombed. And you just can't stand near it. And that creates such a big window for Zilean to roam around and constantly snowball. We saw him like kill Soaz 3 times and then goes roaming bottom. And it all happened for that 1v1. He should have just okay, look, I'm getting a free lane here. I'm picking Kassadin. I'm a late game champion. Thank you for the lane. I'm not going to try to make anything aggressive. It was really close. He almost had it, but you just can't take that risk.
Yeah, Freak, I mean, OMG clearly camped Soaz. They put a lot of attention on keeping him shut down, but they just got a massive mid-game power spike or control, really, and they never let go. They never relinquished. It took a long time to finish. Nobody can argue that, but they held on to that mid-game and they kept Fnatic on their heels.
Right, so a few things I noticed from this game is Fnatic actually in a lot of ways played very similar to their game against Samsung Blue. It just paid off very differently. And that Peke is still doing very well in minion kills, right? He did well against Dada, he did well against Cool in minions, but we even saw it against Dada as well. There was a point where he has ulti on Ahri, Dada didn't, and he goes for the all-in and actually loses the fight. Casterman has barely traded the kill back, and yet ulti up still loses that battle. And here again, we're seeing Peke go for these all-ins against a level 6 Zillion, whose like big power spike is level 7, level 9, right? Like, and so he's like not even understanding how the fights are supposed to work in lane, gives away advantages there. And yet we saw OMG take 37 minutes for some reason to win a game, which is slower than it's supposed to be. You saw Fnatic actually had these really good ways at holding the pushes for a while. Like Fnatic clearly plays mid to late game fairly well, but my God, did they screw up the first 15.
Yeah, I completely agree. Unfortunately, we do have to roll this one on. There's still 2 games to get through. But before we get to those games, we're going to take a minute quickly to check in on the conversation that is taking place on Twitter. We're going to remind you earlier what the question was. And we asked all of our viewers what surprised you the most from day one Singapore and why. We picked a few of our favorite responses. And I'm just going to quickly run through. From @Satine Low, I was most surprised by Xiao solo killing Cool in the mid lane was so impressive. Double lift. That impressed you as well, didn't it?
Yeah, because everyone had ruled out Xiao except for Crumbs, actually. Crumbs, you're a prophet. But it's just ridiculous because you can think back to when LMQ was a Chinese team. They weren't top tier, and Cool has been a really dominant Chinese mid for so long. You wouldn't have expected Xiao to just come out God mode, guns blazing, and just solo kill Cool like that.
There's a lot of pressure on him. We'll see him again playing against Samsung Blue later. Right, next is from @iRask. What surprised me the most was the individual skill of Kaboom. They are very close in lane, something no one expected once again except Crumbs. Crumbs was talking Kaboom out before the event, and they surprised you as well.
Yeah, I think that they're going to have a good showing today, and maybe they can get that win.
Maybe they can take down Alliance. We will find out. Next one's from @Yamazuya. What's up, buddy? I'll be honest, I did not expect the copious amounts of apple pie we got served on day one. Please, sir, I want some more. And I think I wouldn't mind some of that as well.
I'd like to mention that, since we're talking about Zhao, seems like the real hyperbolic time chamber just takes a little bit longer to work is North America. It goes from China to NA, goes out of it, beats up the best mid laner in China.
Is that true?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that.
It takes a while.
I'm in the chamber, boys. Give me 2 more years and I'm ready.
All right, guys, let's roll this on. You can share your 2 cents by tweeting to us @LOL Esports. Use that hashtag Worlds. We've still got much more league action coming your way. After the break, Alliance will look to rebound and put a win on the board as they take on international wildcard Kaboom Esports. Guys, don't go anywhere. The championship returns after this.
Soaz is going to try to do what he can as well. Already Dada falls, and this is Lovely coming down. He's going to start putting in some damage.
Looking to try something here, going caught out, but it goes aggressive on towards Soaz. The lands are thrown out, but he just can't get on it.
Yellowstar again goes down without the rest of the team as he tries to pull them away, but they will not follow him.